Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you how much you think UK businesses are losing every year in staff turnover. You might say to me, the economy is doing well, businesses are doing well. You might not believe this figure. 4.2 billion a year is how much British businesses are losing in staff turnover because they can't keep their people. And maybe they have a lot of the wrong people who aren't staying. That's a lot of wastage. So what I want to talk to you about now is who is getting it right and why. But before I do, let's have a look at what those costs are and why it's going so badly wrong. So companies in retail, healthcare, media and advertising, financial services, they're all companies that are struggling with staff turnover costs. Why? Well, they're getting a couple of fundamental things wrong. First of all, many of them don't know who their great performers are. And even when they do, they don't know why they're great performers. They know a lot about their customers. They know their customers inside out, but they don't know their own people. So this is a huge cost. You think about recruitment costs, lost time in productivity, managers wasting time bringing people up to speed. It's a big problem. However, having started on that negative note, I want to lift the tone now because there are organisations out there that are getting it very right, and they're the pioneers. And I'm going to come on and talk about those in the moment. Some of those are in this room. Some of our clients, when we first start working with them, have up to 70% staff turnover. That is incredibly disruptive. And a chief executive a couple of weeks ago said, and I've never heard a CEO speak like this before, he said to me, that is financially and emotionally costing us a huge amount, emotionally. So it's not just about the money. And what I've noticed, when organisations are in this situation, they have one of three reactions. I call it the 3 A's. Either they accept the situation, they don't like it, but they say things like, well, everybody in our sector's got that problem. It's normal, we can't do anything about it. Second reaction is anxiety. So they're very, very anxious and they're struggling and they really want to do something different, but they don't know what to do. They're led by people that don't want to accept that status quo, but they feel a bit stuck. The third way, which is catching on like wildfire, is agitation. So the agitators are the ones that are doing it differently. They are pioneering and they are having amazing results. And they're not part of the group that are losing £4.2 billion a year. So I mentioned some of them are in the room tonight. Linda, former HR director of Saga, now of PHS Group, Nick from Saga, and of course we've got some of the nursing colleagues in the room as well. They're doing it really differently. And what are they doing? Well, they've got three urges, if you like, three things that's making them want to change. And this is the first thing that I've noticed. I can always tell in a conversation with a senior person what kind of things do they say and what kind of things do they ask. And they say one or more of the following three things. They say, we need to and we want to improve our customer service. We need people that really care about customer service or about patient care. Secondly, we need to save money. All this money is going out the door and we're wasting a huge amount. And thirdly, they talk about performance and productivity and how much better could it be if they could even drop their staff turnover by 10% and get 10% more people who want to do the job and love to do the job. So this is the difference. The ones who are struggling are hiring people who can do it. They're not hiring people who feel it here, who really want to do it and who are naturally good at it. And somebody actually who I think is in this room said to me, when I was interviewing him for the book, he said, "But surely, Sally, this is a middle-class privilege preserve. Surely only people who are doing professional, vocational jobs can be in a job they love." And I said to him, that is so not true. We've worked with call centres, we've worked with domiciliary carers, we've worked with Morrison's Supermarket, we've worked with nursing assistants. What I find is that all of these people, they want to be seen for who they are, they want to do a good job, and they want to be themselves at work. And too many organisations are trying to make us into something we're not. They're doing it inadvertently. But the agitators are the ones that are getting it right. So what they're doing is they're starting to really understand what it is that great people do. Let me tell you about Dave. Dave was a director of a financial services business. And I first met him in 2011. Never forget it, sitting in his glass office, and that guy was exasperated. He was desperate. His staff turnover was running at 65%. Customers were complaining, money was running out of the door, and his team was stressed out with this revolving door of new staff coming in and then going out. And I'll never forget it. He said to me, he said, "Sally, I honestly don't think we can fix this problem. We have tried everything." And they tried some very bizarre things. He said, "If you can reduce our staff turnover, I will be forever in your debt." So, what happened? Well, 3 months later, it halved. And today, it stands at 17%. So from 65 to 17%, simply by knowing what those people were like who loved the job and were great at it, and finding more people like that. And Dave is not alone. That story is a story that we hear over and over again. And the good news is that all of our clients have these amazing results. So results like a 20% increase in productivity, like a 12% increase in customer service, 80% reduction in customer complaints. And people like Linda, the agitators, they are getting these sort of results. And it's not just about the money. One of the things that I find very heartening is when I talk to chief execs, HR directors, I mean, they always talk about ROI, return on investment, of course, and it goes without saying. And they say, we know about the numbers, we know about the evidence, it's there. But they all say one phrase. They all say, it intuitively feels right. The HR director of Starbucks said that to me. The chief nurses in the top 10 trusts that we work with, they all said it to me. The chief financial officer of Saga said it to me. So there's something else going on here, and I think it's something that as human beings we can all relate to. And I don't know, has anybody here ever been in the wrong job? Yeah, a few people. Not a very nice feeling. Has anybody been in an appraisal year after year where the same things keep coming up? And you might get a bit of training or coaching, but nothing really seems to change. So what is wrong with that? Well, what's wrong is that you will never become fantastic by fixing your weaknesses. You'll only become fantastic by playing to your strengths and stretching yourself in the direction of your strengths. And I always think about David Beckham, and I'm not a football aficionado, so I hope I get this right, but can you imagine if Man U tried to focus all the time on trying to fix what David Beckham didn't do very well? Would he have become a world-class footballer? Probably not. The reason that I'm standing here today, and the reason why I've been on this journey, is that I've been in the wrong job at one point in my career. I had my first graduate job, and I was sitting in my office in Southampton Docks, looking at all the ships going by. And my first job was crewing cable ships. So these were the ships that go around the world laying and maintaining submarine telecoms cables. I loved it. It gave me a buzz every time I walked into that office in the morning. So, it was challenging, it was problem solving. I got to meet people from different cultures. And every time a ship sailed off and I was on the dockside waving it off, I just felt a huge sense of satisfaction that I'd made sure the right people were on that ship for the mission that they had ahead of them. So I was feeling pretty pleased with myself, and I was pretty happy. And BT in those days, you know, they had really complex, sophisticated selection systems, and they decided to promote me because I was doing so well. The problem was they promoted me into something that was completely wrong for me. So I was sitting in an office doing trade union negotiation research. There are some people that love that sort of work. I'm not one of them. I was sitting poring over spreadsheets every day. And I couldn't understand why. I mean, I was okay at it, but I certainly wasn't good at it. And my motivation was on the floor. And my manager was disappointed because my manager had been told, you know, this is a young high flyer. She's going to do really well. And I didn't. And I thought it was me. It took me 10 years to realise what had gone wrong. And I went to a conference on strengths psychology in business. And that was the light bulb moment. I had been a square peg in a round hole. I was not only not playing to my strengths, I was spending all my time and energy trying to fix my weaknesses. So here I am today, with a culmination of my own experience and that of many global organisations, the agitators who found a different way and a better way. And I was really delighted when Kogan Page decided to publish this book. And just to give you a flavour of what kind of things are in the book, half of it is how-to, and half of it are stories, real-life stories and case studies of people like Debbie, like people who've experienced this sort of method. Half of it is their stories and their tales. And I want to read you a quote from Linda Greenshields, whose interview is in that book. Linda said, "If your ambition is to make a difference to your organisation's performance, a strengths approach to recruitment or development will achieve that. If you're seeking something that wins hearts and minds, there's nothing better than strengths. And if you want to leave a legacy of a culture that's inspiring and positive to employees and customers, then a strengths approach will do that." This work really touches people's hearts and it improves organisations. And I think it's vital that more of it goes on. If you're a patient in a hospital, you deserve to be looked after by a great nurse. If you're a customer, you deserve to be looked after and cared for by somebody who cares. And if you're a young person starting out, you deserve to be employed in a job that's right for you and where you're going to thrive. So, friends, if this makes sense to you, please, if you know anybody who's struggling with their performance, who's struggling with customer service, and who wants to save all this wasted money and energy, please tell them about the Strengths Movement. It really is transforming organisations and it's changing lives. Thank you.